Good morning, everybody. We're over here in Stockton. Beautiful morning, as beautiful as can be this early. Right now it is 8:10 in the morning. This beautiful park. I don't know what it's called, but there's this church slash castle ruins. Due to my ignorance, I cannot tell you what the name of this is, but it looks pretty cool, man. Looks pretty cool. And then over here you see it's a beautiful park, beautiful park. Looks like if you come here at night, this is the place where you get killed. So this is where you're gonna find me. And here there's like a door that you go through to get into Narnia. Oh, look at this. I found it. I freaking found it. The Holy Trinity Church. Holy Trinity Church was founded in 1888 through 1991. The building of the church, let's check this out. In the early 19th century, the growing population of Stockton meant that the parish church at the north end of the high street was becoming too small to accommodate residents, both in the number of seats in the church and the space in the graveyard. In 1833, the Bishop of Durham presented the parish with the land for the church and a new vicarage. I don't know what that is. Gothic architecture was back in vogue, and the medieval design by architects John and Benjamin Green of Newcastle was chosen. William Bulmer was appointed as builder. The church was built of stone and given a highly ornamental exterior, finished off with a graceful 200 feet high spire. The foundation stone for the church was laid in 1834, and the task of raising the money for the build began. At the time, churches in Stockton reserved seating for paying occupants. However, a grant of £2,000 from the London Incorporated Society for the building of churches was offered on condition that half of the sittings in the church would be free. The church rejected the offer and embarked on raising the £2,000 through loans. The loans would be repaid once the church was completed, and the pews seating would be sold to individuals and/or families for their use only. Despite all efforts, there was a shortfall of £600, which was secured through the grant on condition that several hundred sittings at the parish church would be declared free. The building work appears to have been completed by Christmas 1835. However, it was not open for divine service until 13 May 1838. Stockton parishioners rejected any idea of separation from the parish church. However, the increasing population of Stockton made this decision unrealistic or unworkable, and in December 1837, the Holy Trinity Church district was created. The spire. When the church was built, it was graced with a 200-foot spire, which soon became a local landmark. In 1957, it became apparent that the steeple and the tower were unsound. The tower was not strong enough to take the weight of the reinforcement needed to make the steeple safe, and reluctantly, it was demolished. Arguably, it is the removal of the spire which emphasizes the Gothic appearance of the church today. The demise of the Holy Trinity Church. In the early 1970s, the deterioration of the build of the church went hand in hand with the decline of the congregation. By 1982, the decision was made that the Holy Trinity Church would no longer function as an Anglican place of worship. The organ, as well as some of the oak paneling, was removed. Some of the oak panels have been resited at St. Peter's Church on Yarm Road. This was not quite the end of the church. The Greek Orthodox Church took out a lease on the building, but due to continuing physical deterioration and vandalism, they were forced to give up the lease in 1989. The church stood empty for 2 years until the 26th September 1991, when there was a fire which was thought to have been started by vandals. For over 10 years, the church stood as quiet as sorry sight, with mixed opinions on what would be the best future for it. That is interesting, my friends. Alright, this is a painting of the interior of the church by J.H. Dickinson. The interior of the church. In the initial build of the church, the interior of the building was very plain. By contrast with the outside, all available space was used to provide seating for the congregation, and in total, the church was capable of seating 1,200 people. From 1881, the church went through a series of physical improvements to further increase the capacity, including the introduction in 1882 of free and open benches in place of some existing pews. In 1909, the vestry accepted a gift of a stained glass window from Sir Robert and Lady Rockner of Preston Hall, in memory of their daughter Elsa Kessel, who had died the previous year. From this point, there was a great deal of work carried out internally, including oak paneling, oak choir stalls, improvement to the altar, installation of electric lighting. There were also a number of elaborate memorials and stained glass windows installed, several of which were dedicated to men killed in the Great War, which was between 1914 and 1918. Holy Trinity School. Plans for a new school linked to Holy Trinity Church began in 1837 with the purchase of a piece of land next to the church. However, it was to be further 10 years, 1st March 1847, before a further grant of land and building began. Oh man. And then on the side there were three buildings: an infant school, a boys' school, and a school of industry for females. By 1853, records show that there were 110 boys, 76 infants, and 93 girls. By 1926, there were only boys at the school. In 1968, a new school was built in Fairfield, which once again taught boys and girls. And it's pretty cool. Holy Trinity Church, erected 1834. The cemetery. A photograph of the cemetery right here, as you can see. Cemetery records show that the cemetery was used from 1834, several years before the church was used for service, endorsing the need for a new church and cemetery in Stockton. In 1832 and 1849, there were two cholera outbreaks in Stockton. 126 people died in the 1832 outbreak, and 20 people died in 1849. Richer and local knowledge indicates that both cholera pits are on the side, despite the fact that the first outbreak was 2 years before the cemetery came into use. There was little change to the cemetery until 1976, when a road improvement scheme in Yarm Lane led to the exhumation of 600 bodies from Holy Trinity Churchyard and their reburial in Oxbury Lane Cemetery. What the future holds. A partnership between Stockton Council and English Heritage secured £550,000 funding to make the building safe without significantly altering the appearance. The stabilization works that took place were completed in November 2008. A Christmas carol service was held in the ruin in December 2008. In the summer of 2009, it was the centerpiece of the Stockton International Riverside Festival finale. It is hoped that the venue will be used for a variety of events for local groups in the future, as well as becoming a positive landmark in Stockton once again. And that's the whole story of this building, guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. See you later.